This program is presented by the Associated General Contractors of America.
On almost every job site you work on, you'll probably see a wide variety of aerial work platforms being used. They save the time of having to move and erect scaffolds. Plus, aerial work platforms with articulated booms are often needed to work in difficult-to-reach areas.
But when you work with equipment of this size, there are potential hazards you need to be aware of. Serious accidents and fatalities can occur when safe practices aren't followed.
Even if you're not the one operating the equipment, you still might find yourself working on a platform or in a basket over 100 feet in the air, or just 20 feet up.
But at any height, you'll want to understand your responsibilities so that you can get your feet back down on the ground safely.
If you're going to be operating an aerial platform, you must know the details and the features of that specific piece of equipment. Proper training is not only a legal requirement, it's also crucial for the safe operation of all construction equipment, especially aerial work platforms.
Poor training can result in serious accidents, including falling from the platform, overturning the vehicle, crashing into other objects or people, or contacting energized power lines.
So before you ever operate one of these machines, get the proper training. Ask questions about that specific machine. Consult the manufacturer's recommendations and know the machine's limitations.
One of the first things you'll learn in a training session is the importance of doing a daily pre-operational check of the aerial work platform. You never know what changes might have occurred to the equipment overnight or during the last shift.
If the equipment is a rental unit and this is its first time on the job site, be sure to check the equipment carefully. Since you'll be the one responsible for the safe operation of the machine, you need to check it out every day before using it. The operator's manual and a copy of the applicable ANSI standard needs to be stored in a designated compartment on the equipment at all times. Consult the manual to remind yourself of the pre-operational inspection specific to the equipment you're about to use. Make sure the vehicle is parked on a level surface and do a walk-around check. Check the tire's air pressure, making sure they're not over or underinflated. And look over each tire for excessive wear or cracking, making sure there are no nails or other debris embedded in the rubber. You wouldn't want a blowout when you're up in the air. Check the hydraulic fluid level and pressure. If a leak is found in the hydraulic system, don't operate the machine. Get a qualified technician to take care of it. Check the fuel, oil, and coolant levels and look underneath the equipment for any fluid that might have dripped or leaked. If you're unsure of anything along the way, refer back to the manual. All of the battery connections should be checked and damaged components should be replaced. On electrical units, make sure the batteries are properly charged and the wiring is in good condition. Raise the machine from its stowed position. Check for cracks and deviations in the welded areas and inspect the hoses for worn areas, cracks, unusually tight twists, and connections that may have slipped. Be sure not to put any part of your body into pinch point areas. Now it's time to test the ground level controls. Raise and lower each boom system separately and check for unusual sounds or uneven movement. Be sure the safety devices are operating correctly and that the machine responds normally to the commands. Then look again for any hydraulic leaks. And make sure the pivot pins and the lock rings are secure. Finally, get into the basket or onto the platform and raise and lower it to confirm the machine is operating correctly. The platform should be clean and free from loose tools or debris that could cause you to lose your footing. Be sure all the guardrails are in place and secure and that the gate closing device is working. Do not attempt to disable the gate by wiring it open for any reason. If any of the guardrails or the gate need maintenance, get them fixed before you go up.
Be sure to take the time to do this pre-operational check thoroughly and completely. If available, use the written checklist that comes with the equipment. There's no reason to hurry, and a thorough check can help keep you safe and productive the entire day.
Don't forget, if you do come across any problems or malfunctions, report them immediately and don't use the machine until it's been serviced and repaired.
Okay, the equipment is ready to go, but before you begin a job with an aerial work platform, you need to look at how to protect yourself from falls.
On scissors lifts that only raise and lower vertically, the guardrail is the minimum fall protection you should consider. However, on some job sites that require 100% tie-off, and whenever you're in a boom-type aerial work platform, you need to use a personal fall arrest system. A personal fall arrest system consists of a full body harness, a lanyard, and an attachment point on the machine. Whenever available, make sure you're tying off to the attachment point designated by the manufacturer, not just the guardrail. Also, never tie off to an adjacent structure. If the equipment was unintentionally moved, or you simply forgot about your lanyard, you'd be in serious trouble.
Now that your equipment is inspected and you have your fall protection in place, you need to be aware of some of the potential hazards on your job site.
Look around your site and get the big picture. There may be hazards overhead, or debris, drop-offs, holes, or bumps in the floor or ground. It's also important to plan ahead when you're using or driving an aerial work platform so you can avoid dangerous surfaces and determine the best way to position the equipment. When driving the aerial work platform, keep in mind that driving over mechanical stub-ups, materials, debris, holes, and floor openings account for a large percentage of aerial work platform accidents. It is mandatory that all aerial work platforms be in the lowered position when driving on any type of grade or on rough terrain. Avoid bumps whenever possible and travel only at speeds which are appropriate for the site conditions. Watch out for slippery surfaces, spills, debris, and obstructions, and especially holes in the floor. If any of these hazards exist and can't be removed, make sure they are clearly marked so you can see them from the operator's position. Never try to drive over a manhole covering or a sewer grate unless it has been closely inspected from the ground level and will support the unit. Be familiar with how all of the controls work and always operate the unit with the control box toward the direction you're traveling so you can see where you're going. Keep your body within the guardrails while the machine is moving. And never attempt to override any control or safety device.
Inside, be careful when driving in poorly lit areas. It's a good idea to check the location out on foot before driving through in the equipment.
Traveling with the platform raised can make aerial work platforms unstable. Traveling short distances with a basket or platform raised should only be done on firm, hard, level surfaces and when absolutely necessary for good visibility. Keep an eye out for overhead hazards such as light fixtures, heaters, ductwork, and especially overhead power lines. Most aerial work platforms do not have insulated platforms, so extreme caution must be used when working around energized overhead electrical lines. Never come closer than 10 feet to an energized line, and be aware that higher line voltages may need more distance. Check with your supervisor before you do any work around energized lines. Also, when you're working at heights, be aware of the weather conditions. High winds can cause aerial work platforms to tip over, and wet conditions can make both the equipment and the ground slippery and more difficult to control. Always check the weather before you begin work.
Before getting into a basket or platform, it's important to make sure that the vehicle is completely stable. Tipping a unit will lead to serious injury, so it's best to position the unit on a hard, level surface if possible. Never lift the boom if the unit is unstable or if the work platform is stopped on an incline.
Sometimes it's necessary to set outriggers or stabilizers. It's also important for stability never to exceed the manufacturer's load capacity and to distribute the load evenly on the platform.
The unit is not a crane and is not designed to lift heavy objects, so don't stack materials like pipe on the guardrails or lift objects by tying them to the underside of the platform. Consult the operator's manual or the stickers on the basket or platform to determine how much weight the unit can handle.
When getting onto and off of an aerial work platform, make sure it's turned off and in the lowered position. Never try to climb into a raised platform or hop on while the vehicle is moving.
Another very dangerous procedure, which has led to numerous injuries and fatalities, is using ladders or scaffold boards to extend your reach from an aerial work platform. You should never do this. And you should never stand on the guardrails. Both of these practices are extremely dangerous.
Always maintain a firm footing on the floor of the aerial work platform. When you're in the platform, good housekeeping is an important consideration. Keep ropes and electrical cords coiled and away from your feet. Tools should be kept in a tool belt whenever possible or kept out of the way. If you ever need to tie power cables or air hoses to the platform, be sure to use a slip knot. The work platform could easily be tipped over if another vehicle below ran over or got tangled in the cable.
Aerial work platforms can save you a lot of time on the job, but you've always got to keep safe work practices in mind.
Get the proper training in the use of aerial work platforms. Refer to the operator's manual. Ask questions about the specific machine that you'll be using and know its limitations. Do a thorough pre-operational inspection of the equipment every day. Take the time to do a complete check and never operate a unit that does not pass inspection. Inspect the site where you're going to be using the unit. Look for potholes, uneven ground, and overhead dangers. Use the appropriate fall protection for the equipment and job site you're working on. Travel with the platform as low as possible. Be aware and cautious of overhead lines and poor weather conditions. And keep your feet firmly planted on the floor of the platform. Remember to follow good housekeeping rules too.
Whether you're up on an aerial work platform every day or just for the occasional job, it's important to make safety a priority so you can get your feet back on the ground safely.